Hello everyone, my name is Ahmed Shaltut. Today we are going to explain how to use Laravel permission package for giving user authorization over our apps models. We use the same authentication system we have been building on the last videos. As you can see, there is the login function. There is nothing new, and there is the registration for registration or in the registration controller, and of course we are making a rule for each user, so we can know if it's a user or just an admin. Here is a Spyt Laravel package that we are going to install. We will follow the installation step on their website. There is nothing new. We'll follow all these steps. So, composer require Spyt Laravel, permission, and then we will add the provider class here in config app.php. Then we need to publish the configuration file for the package of this package, as you can see. This is the configuration file, permission.php. We'll do nothing on this file. Then we'll make optimize clear. The last step is migration. Let's migrate the tables. Now let's see it in the database. I'm using them as MySQL, PHP my admin here. And this is a rules table, and rule has permission for the relationship between rule and permission. So, the next step, we need to create Caesar classes to fill our system with permissions and rules, as well as create the super admin user. So we will use Laravel Caesar, and we'll follow the documentation. So here is the database seeding of Laravel documentation. We'll create a seeder for permission and rules. So let's do this. PHP artisan make seeder rules and permission, our permissions seeder. Let's go to database, seeders, here it is. And let's create another seeder for creating our super admin. I will name it user seeder. Here it is. So let's create the permission array here. I have prepared it before the video. But first we need to call some classes like rule and permission. This is the models for the database. Then, okay. So, this is the array of permissions for this web app, and of course, you can make your own with the suitable permissions for your app. But for now, this is an example. As you can see, there is a message create, message view, message edit, message delete, and same for settings, report, user, create, users view. I have so many permissions for my app, and of course you can create your own. So we need to convert our array to collection so that we will use the Laravel collection helper so we can add them in the database. So let's do this. But first, we need to add this class for Spyt permission package to forget about the caching, because it caches all the permissions from the database, and that makes it faster. And now let's do our thing. That's to convert our array to collection. Let's say permissions equal collect. This is the helper, and takes the array as a first argument, and then let's map it. Function permission, return. So I just need to fix that. Here and add semicolon. Okay. So here we will return. The first thing is name. It will take the array value of each index, and the guard here, the guard name will be web. Okay, let's add them in the database via the permission model. Here, permission, insert permissions. Here, this is a collection of permissions. And of course, to array. Okay. Then we need to create the rules. We'll create for now just one rule, and I will be super admin. So rule create super admin. Course name will be super admin. Now and so let's give all or give it all the permissions we have here. So we say give permission to, and we will take all this permissions here. Now, this is a super admin rule, and we give it all the permissions we have. Let's create a super admin here, super admin credential. So we use here the model user and a hash for hashing our password. And of course, here we add has rule treat for the user model, so we can use our Laravel-permission package in user model. So this is a user. Here we first name admin, last name test, email admin@admin.com, and gender will be male. I have rule will be super admin, and birth date and status active. Let's make it 1989. And password admin @1234. And then we assign rule super admin. This is how you assign a rule in this package. Then let's add our classes here for seeding them on the database all at once. Here is the first class. Let's move this class. Well, we need to call a function, this call, and then we'll put all classes as an array. And then the user seeder. And there's an error here. I need to add semicolon. And this. Okay. So let's run our seed to run seeding classes. Here there's something wrong. Yeah. We need PHP artisan db seed. Now it should be inserted in the database. Let's see here. Let's share the permissions. All the permissions here. 75, 76, 5, all permissions. And here, the rules, we have only one rule. And this is our user. Here is super admin. So this is the step for installation of our web application. We should run all the seeding classes. So let's run our, let's make the controllers here. So I'll create a folder for the admin because this is an admin controller. Admin rules and permissions controller. And then resource. Resource with all the functions need for our routes. Index, edit, create, update, store, destroy, or delete. And then let's create as a request form for store. So let's add admin rules, rules store, request. So here it is. Then in the authorization, we need to check if the admin has the permission or this user has permission. So all we do simply this user can, and let's see our permissions here. We have settings edit. Okay, we can use settings create or edit, whatever we want. Here, let's do this. Now it will check if the user has, has this permission. It will return true, and if not, it will return false. And then let's create our validation rules. Here, permission required. It's an array of permissions for the rule. Then in every permission index, it should be exist in the database. So we say here exists in the table permission or permissions and rule. Of course, his rule should be required and unique. So, unique rules name and the column name. Should specify the name, the column name. Here of course, we should do this in permissions for the name to check the column name. Let's make it here maximum character 60. Okay. Here. So let's call the rules and the permission models. And then we need to call the form request here. It's added here. That's for functions too. So let's get the validation data. Here request validate. And rule create name request rule, and the guard will be web. The guard name web. And let's give it all the permissions we get from the request. So give permission to request permission. And then let's return JSON response. So response JSON success true, and the rule here we need to return 0. Yes. Add data rule. Of course, the class for forget cached permissions. Forget cached permission. For forgetting all the cache. So let's create our route. Here it's the same route, but we need to put it here because we have a prefix as a local and admin. So this route should be different than the normal end user route. Here let's create a resource route resource, and rule permission. This is the URL. And of course, use this functions of this class. Here. So let's log in with the admin. Yep. We need to run our server. PHP artisan serve. Here in login we need to fix something here. Look here for the notification, login notification, it send an email. If the email is not existed here, as you can see, it shows an error. So we need to put it in try and catch here, but we will do nothing for the exception. So of course it's true an error, but it will make execution the code. We'll continue executing the code. So there is a typo. And here, route. let's make sure everything's okay. And there is another typo here in this function. Where it is, where it is. Yeah. Yes, request. Let's see, the rule has been taken. Okay, let's see our database here. Yes, this is one from testing. There is no relation. So let's give it a try again. Yep, here is the rule with ID 5, and this is, and here is the permissions. So let's see our database. Yep, and here is the relation, as you can see. So let's use a normal user. This is not an admin user. So let's test our permission. Here, this user doesn't have setting edit permission here. Can't. The authorized function. Another thing we need to do to control the error message. So use failed authorization function here and use this class authorization exception, and we can create the message here for localization. So let's create one that say admin only, unauthorized. Admin only, unauthorized. And another one here. admin admin فقط غير مسموح. And let's go here and add the message. And let's test it. Admin only unauthorized. Let's check the Arabic language. Here, yes. Here in .env file, if we turn off the debug mode, we would see the message only. So let's create the delete function here. It will take the first argument, it will be the language. Local, and let's test the rule to get it directly from the class. Or return rule. Yeah, it didn't work. Here, let's delete and give it an ID, and I don't know why. So I'm gonna use the normal ID. here, and then and I will find the record rule, find ID. Here, this way to get the rule. Then we need to remove all the permissions here. But first, let's get the rules permissions here. And rule. Let's see the documentation here. It says revoke permissions, revoke permission 2, and all these permissions here. And finally, rule delete. And of course, let's return a JSON response. Let's copy it and paste here. And let's test it. Now just added one. The ID 7 here in delete. And rule test, and there is a relation here. So it's sent. Success true. Let's see the database. Refresh. Yes, it has been deleted successfully. This is the index to get all the rules. We need to check the authorization of a user. So let's check if the user can view the permission. So let's create here a treat to check the user permission, because we don't have form request in view. So here is the treat. And use use. We'll use use class. Treat, we'll name it authorize check. So we can check all the permissions in one place only, so it makes it easy for us to maintain and update our codes in future. So public function authorize check, and it will take one argument. It will be the permission, and it is string. And let's copy this code and put it here. And that class authorization exception. Let's modify it. Here, this is permission. So let's put our permission here, and let's change this to us here. And if the user cannot see the permission, what it is, then throw an error if the user is not authorized. And let's use our treat here. So app treat authorize check. Use this here. And here is this authorize check, and let's add our permission name. Here, setting view. So admin only exception and authorize it. It works. So let's add a token of the admin. And now, so it shows all the data here, all the rules. And in create, we will need all permissions. This is the data for creating, when we create or add an rule, we will need to get all the permissions on our system so we can select the permissions for this new rule. Setting. Now here for the edit, it's the same thing here, but we will return the rule by ID and all the permissions. And let's check it out. Let's test it here. The rule is null. So why is this here? Because the first argument should be the local language ID. So let's test it again. Here's the rule data. Let's show. So let's return the rule permission here. Because we should return, of course, the rule permission with the rule data. So rule permissions. Rule permission. Let's see. Actually, in the rules array here, we have permission, and outside that we have rule permissions as well. So we don't need rule permission. Here, okay, let's remove this and remove this too. And just let's call rule permissions. It will call all permissions with the rule array when we return it as JSON. Then here is the update function. Of course, I created a form request here, and I checked the authorization, and I got the ID from this route rule permission, and then I created the rules, the validation rules. Here, first thing, get the rule, and then get the rule permissions. To remove all the permissions from this rule, and then add the new permissions again, and then update and refresh and clear the cache and return the JSON. Here, let's give it a test. give it a try. Because super admin. So let's create a new one here. So here we have 3 permissions. Let's make them 2, and here is 2. Let's make them 3 again, and here it is. So this is the module for rules and permissions using the Laravel permission. But we need to add here to check the authorization in the destroy function and settings delete. And this is the last thing here. Let's give it a try too. So, yep, it works. So, thank you for watching. That's all for now. And please like and subscribe if you find this a useful tutorial for you. Thank you.